Hola amigos, ¿cómo está? Jesse McDougall here with the Martial Arts and Money doing a book review today. I'm actually going to do two book reviews because I've got a tech working on my laptop right now on some trivial IT stuff that's below my pay grade and I just don't want to deal with it. There's so much to do, managing 3 companies and making a professional run at mixed martial arts. It's kind of a lot to do, so I'm choosing not to get involved with that, and I'm outsourcing that. So in the meantime, I realize I haven't done a book review in probably a week now, and I'm pretty excited, so I'll stop talking. This one, I'm not going to have no coffee. The next one, I'm going to have coffee and see what I thought of the difference. This one, George St Pierre, The Way of the Fight. The Way of the Fight. Amazing book. Amazing book for athletic people, for intelligent people, for people who are just interested in George St Pierre. Lots to learn in this book. So this book here, the first page he talks about, the first couple pages. So I read this book when about 3 years ago I was training for a pro fight. It was pretty bad. I went drove from Thunder Bay all the way down to Cambridge to train with some guys I trained with before, where I became a European Muay Thai champion under these guys. So I went back to there. These are my bros. We're all fired up to train. And the first 20 minutes in, we're moving fast. And when you haven't trained in a while, everyone's pumped up. I slipped and I went for a kick or something or a knee, and I rolled my ankle and I heard this crazy pop. Ended up having a 3rd-degree sprain, which is actually worse than breaking your ankle. Boo-hoo, victim card, right? Something like that has never happened in so far my martial arts experience, and I was like, I was like, okay, wow, this might be it for me, right? I was 32 years old. So then I read St. Pierre's book, so I picked up the book, and that's when I started really focusing on my internet company. So one thing out of here George talks about is like his philosophy is one door closes, another door opens. So for me, my ankle, maybe the fight game door closed for me. You can't control everything in the world. But the other door that opened was, okay, well, you know what? Now I have a lot of extra time. I'm not spending 2-3 hours or 2 hours in the gym every night. Even 1 hour in the gym, it still takes a half hour, an hour to get ready and then after. So by the time you do a workout, not just martial arts, you're looking at like probably 2.5 hours before you can reset and get back to your normal life. So I had a lot of time, extra time, and I was just starting my internet company. So the blessing was, the fight game door got shut for now, maybe forever, I don't know. But it also allowed me to fully focus on my internet company and get the cash flow going. So it's a matter of perspective, and that's what George talks about in the book. It's just great. So on the first pages, another thing highlighted of this book, he says, dinosaurs and cockroaches were on the earth at the same time, but the cockroach is still here, but dinosaurs aren't. So he says here, you got to evolve like the cockroach or die like the dinosaur. And I never forgot that. And I read this book like 3-4 years ago now, about 3 years ago. Never forgot that. So I classify, so I don't know if you ever read I've read or listened to the audiobook of the Steve Jobs, and wow, was I blown away. I didn't really know much about Steve Jobs. I think it just seen, when you presenting the iPhones, and I don't listen to other people's opinions about someone. I was, just wow, what that guy actually did technology-wise. Crazy. But I put George St. Pierre on the same mental intellect or evolving something as Steve Jobs. I put him on the same pedestal, if you will, or same level, but just in a different vehicle. So where, Steve Jobs created, revolutionary products and Pixar and did amazing things in business, George St. Pierre elevated mixed martial arts level into athletic fighters. He raised the bar, and he dominated his weight class for a decade. It's not easy to do. So it's like, unless you're a fighter and you've been chasing the dream and you've been in the gyms for half a decade or a decade, it's hard to relate, which I understand, to say when someone dominates a weight class for a decade, it's hard to relate to that. But it's very, very hard. So it takes a certain champion, right? And for anything that I study, it's like I just study people that I want to become, or they have something similar that I'm interested in mimicking. So it's not every day you get to hang out with champions, right? But my philosophy is you just train to be a champion, train to be a billionaire. You should be able to put food in your stomach. You should be able to deal with a lot of problems in life. So that's my whole philosophy. And one thing about George St Pierre says, which I really respect, he's like, I got more than enough money in the bank for the rest of my life. He said for like 2 or 3 lifetimes. He's like, once you've got that bankroll, it's like everything kind of changes. And Steve Jobs on his deathbed, actually, he wrote a note. He said, the one thing that I would change about my life is once I've reached a certain level of financial success, I would focus on things that are not financially motivated, like non-financial goals. He's like, because now the problem that I have, money can't fix the problem that I have. So, interesting. And that's why. Is George right? Is Steve right? Like, is, Ford right? Is Bill Gates right? Like, that's the martial arts of money. There's no one way to do it. There's 300 million ways to do it. Choose one. Okay, so rip through this. That's basically really all I have to, the main points of what I want to say about this book review. Just phenomenal book. Very, very impressive. Very impressive. Oh yeah, one thing is, a couple things he says in here. If you start something, finish it at all costs. I see a lot. That's the worst. If you start something, finish it. It's easy to start something. It's hard to finish it. Go through all the details. Like, don't quit. Don't lie to yourself. So many people quit when they set a goal. Like, I'm not talking about like daily whatever kind of things. Like, that's all tactical stuff. I'm talking about like, hey, this is my goal. This is my life. What I want to do. Like, do it. So, for my academic career, when I got my degree, and the first day of accounting, I was just like, I completed 5 years of academic study and 4 years of attendance because I didn't want to pay for the extra year. The dean let me overload my courses, so that's what I did. But when I had no accounting practical work experience. So when I started working in the firms, I realized, oh shit, I don't want to do this. This is not what I had in mind. This is not what I thought the real world was. I did not think so. I got hit with the real world. But I set a goal. The goal was to get my chartered accountant designation. I'm, halfway through the process. Now the real challenge started. I graduated university, and then to find out the real challenges just start. And that's what I said to myself. I was like, no, you said you're going to do this, so you're going to do it. The reason why chartered accountants get paid a lot of money and always have stable careers is because they put themselves through this, which most people aren't willing to put themselves through. That's value. If you achieve something that most people don't achieve, that's value because you've gone through an experience in a certain trait or talent, and you've achieved a unique perspective that other people don't have, and that's value. How money works. Okay. Fear is the beginning of success I've lived. Fear is the beginning of every success I've lived. So, look at this. I think there's a second chapter. I'm scared. What? You're George St Pierre. You're like one of the best fighters ever. You dominated a weight class for a decade, and you're scared? Yes, you're scared. So a lot of the martial arts, it's emotional intelligence, learning how to deal with your emotions and conquer your inner battles. Fear is the beginning of every success I've lived. That's true. That's so true. I don't want to talk about fear. I get annoyed talking about fear is the truth. Just Google something if you want motivation about fear. I don't got time for that shit. I started out at the bottom. I think all winners do. I just love that this is just simple. So much wisdom. My coffee's ready. Some people learn to lose. Others lose and learn. Notice how other business philosophers, they say the same stuff, but it applies to business. That's interesting, right? Exactly. Losing changes me and turns me into a better man. That is so true. I won a valuable lesson that day. The power of the unexpected. I've been using it ever since. I'm kind of going through that. It just seems like between these 3 companies that I'm building, it's like just, I'm pretty good with planning and cash flow management, but there's just always something coming up. Always expenses out of nowhere that you didn't plan for. So it's quite challenging. Don't ever quit anything until you've reached the end. Yeah. Always finish what you've started. I've got that highlighted. I just said that. Okay. So I reject the world I'd come from. He's talking about choosing to make your own world, your own environment. I've been a good and nice person at times, and has helped me win opportunities. And other times, I've been pitiless because that's what the situation demanded of me. So, but being a righteous person, that's what I learned. I would classify George from what I see as a righteous person. You can be good and tough at the same time. That's from Art Williams. Don't know the Art Williams story? You better ask somebody. That's a great story. I wasn't making sacrifices anymore. I was making decisions. Train instead of party, work instead of play, perfect practice instead of casual repetition. Let's see. There are 2 kinds of men. Those who want to go out and fight, the crazy ones, and the ones who are afraid to go, but they go anyways. They're the courageous ones. Yep. I would say that's me. Yeah, I'm scared to fight. I'm going to do it anyways. The thing I had to learn, and I keep learning this lesson in my life every day, is how to take the fear's power and use it to become better. That's why I've talked about before in some of my other reviews about fear. Fear is the first feeling, but it branches off into 2 emotions. So fear is here, okay, circle. And then it branches off into 2 chains. So choose your own adventure. And it's basically, is the glass half full or half empty? So fear, anxiety. Fear is either you're scared or excited. So first is, in my view, anxiety, fear, or excitement. So anxiety, fear, or excitement. So if you don't know when you're anxious and you're feeling anxiety, is typically in social situations, sober, you don't know anyone, you might get a tingly feeling in your feet. For me, that happens sometimes, or typically when I'm standing on like a cliff or and looking down and I'm just like on the face of danger. For me, just my whole body starts tingling. Actually tingling right now. That's anxiety. But don't be scared of that. It's just, what it means is that your body's not used to being in that environment. It's not used to that emotion. So that's what's triggering. So you can calm down. Like, everything's going to be okay. You're not going to die, right? If you go in a social situation, you don't know anyone. Oh, you're anxious, you're scared. Yeah, well, so is everyone else. Like, get over it. Confidence is built as you do more. So instead of the next time, if you can just pause and program your brain to say, hey, oh, I recognize this. Yeah, this is anxiety. Okay, so I'm not going to die. Like, step 1, everything's okay. Yeah, I can choose to be scared. I can choose to be excited. Okay, so let's be excited. Okay, so if I'm standing over the side of a mountain and I'm excited, oh, wow, what am I excited about? Well, wow, look, it's beautiful. It's such a far fall. And if I jump down, I would die. Oh, is that suicidal for me to think that? Like, do I need help? Like, no. It's pretty logical to think if you're standing over the cliff of a mountain if I jumped off and died, like, that would suck. Yeah, it would suck. So, you know, get excited about seeing the beautiful view and that kind of stuff. Or if you're in a social environment, you mean, you don't know what to do, just hi. What's your name? I'm Jesse. Nice to meet you. Just start with that. And then you're okay. So you just kind of need to push over. Do not take an anxiety pill. Please. Please. Once you start doubting yourself, you're vulnerable. Yeah. It's from fighting, from doing, that you get your confidence back. It's from fighting, from doing, that you get your confidence back. Standing still is never a good option, not in the ring and not in life outside the ring, out the octagon either. Yeah, that's why I like this book. He talks about fighting in life. It's philosophy. It's a highly intelligent, accomplished man. Learn. When you can find no other way forward except for repetitions, your mistakes are compounded into defeat. Therefore, the only way forward is in life is innovation. If you're not growing, you're dying. Keep growing. Grow, 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 grow like a tree. Because someday you're not going to be able to grow. Your body just, your organs are just, they're done. Your heart, nobody knows the number, but it can pump. It's got a finite number of pumps. Who knows? I don't know. Nobody knows. So I hope my heart keeps pumping for another 70 years. That'd make me 106. That'd be pretty cool. I'd be pretty happy. The worst I hear is when people are like, oh, I don't want to live to be 100. It's like, you just said you don't want to live? Did I just hear that? Shit. Okay, so here. Rise to the ever-changing challenge before me. If change is constant in the world, it must be for all individuals. Yeah. That's true. Don't be that record player. That's what working in the accounting firms, I felt like, it was too, like, running around the track for me. It's just, got to keep evolving. Tell me and I'll forget. Show me and I'll remember. Involve me and I'll understand. I'm going to stop this here because, George, don't hate me. I'm trying to promote your book, not give away your knowledge, which I'm sure you're cool. But this is just, I've given tons of wisdom here, and this is amazing. Just a great book. Yeah. 100 out of 5. 100 out of 100. This is an amazing book. I recommend this for anyone. So, yep, any questions? Thanks for the private messages too, but I prefer you to put them in the threads. You get a conversation going, but totally up to you. I'd rather you private message me than not. Anyways, take care. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. See ya.